I'm back to wrap up what I started. I have recharged myself. So around me. So now I'm trying to out my outline. Because I feel something I cannot be ashamed. uh, This is where we are. Like what is how to start freelancing in Nigeria. I'm at this step, clarifying the problem. So I have identified the problem. Now I'm clarifying the problem. Now, although the main purpose is to start freelancing, there are other questions surrounding this question that people usually ask, and that's the essence of SEO content writing. So we are going to Google to find out what it usually asks around a particular question, and that's what will inform your outline and what you should write about. And if you satisfy those questions, then you have a higher chance of ranking. Okay, so I said this is the outline. What is freelancing? Types of freelancing skills. Then some things to consider about freelancing. So the article is definitely going to include how to start freelancing with actionable steps. And then, okay, so now I do freelancing with no experience. Okay, so that's the question people have. I can add this on, under some things to consider about freelancing. Is now thinking about this, I think that people may need benefits of freelancing. But remember, the most important thing inside is how to start freelancing. So we can add the benefit on. Alright, so I'm still looking at. Remember, these are the questions I picked out from the general people also ask. And now I'm trying to ensure that my article captures all these questions in logical manner, in a flow that even if the reader is jumping from Kano to Bayelsa. So it would feel like the person is going sequentially, step by step, flowing with the logic. So what is freelancing? Types of freelancing skills. I can take these some things to consider down, or I can see it where it is. So how to start freelancing at many jobs. Can I do freelancing with no experience? I would add this to some things to consider. Experience, yes. I will just target experience, and then any question that is similar to this question, I will add it under here. And I take freelancing experience. Then it's Upwork available in Nigeria. So I'll, I think I'll add a section that says where to do freelancing or some freelancing platforms. Some freelancing platforms. Well, this will be page 2. Then under this some freelancing platforms, I'll talk about Upwork. So under Upwork, that's where I'll talk about is Upwork available in Nigeria. So that's where I'll answer questions about Upwork. I'll put this in here. Then who is the best freelancer in Nigeria? So I'll create a section freelancing mentors to follow. So freelancing mentors to follow or to learn from, whichever way you can call it, whatever to learn from. Then any question about who is best freelancer, who is this freelancer, I'm going to put it on that freelancing mentors to learn from. The whole, what I'm trying to do here is to compress all these questions that I have identified as my priority questions that I must answer them in my article. So I want to compress them into sections. Imagine me writing an article with these questions as they are without giving it a logical flow. How would you feel reading such an article? Imagine you landed on an article how to start freelancing in Nigeria, and then you just see which skill is highly paid in freelancing. Then the next section, which skill is best for freelancing. Then the next section, who is eligible for freelancers. Again, is it difficult to start freelancing? So it will be a good experience. It will be like you're jumping from the north to the east, down to the south, back to the north. It wouldn't, you will just run off. So now I want to compress all these into a short, not necessarily short outline, but a good outline that captures everything. So which skill is highly paid in freelancing? This question will go under um, freelancing, types of freelancing skills. So I'll put it under here, types of freelancing skills. Now again, there's another thing, but let's leave it. I'll tell you at the end. So which skill is highly paid in freelancing? So anything about skills, I'll put them under type of freelancing skills. Then which skill is best for freelancing? Put it under here. Who is eligible for freelancing? I don't really understand this question. Again, as an SEO content writer, as you break out, you tend to understand that sometimes as the words people use to ask the question doesn't really tally with the real question you're trying to ask. So should you would, when you start writing time and time again, and when you understand the topic you are writing about, you'll be able to, oh, I think from this question, what this question is actually asking is this. But if you are not sure, you can still take that question and go back to the research and look at the answer. So the answer will guide you on what this person is actually asking. But then again, we are to teach search engines, you're not to follow them. Now, take what I'm saying now with a pinch of salt. So basically, sometimes the answers on Google search are not necessarily the right answers to, because I don't know if you've ever searched for something online and it seems like everybody is just giving you an answer that isn't what you're looking for. For example, maybe you're looking for best free software to do a particular thing, or best way to do something on WhatsApp, and maybe that feature doesn't even exist on WhatsApp. But you notice that whenever you still write articles or create videos that tend to act as if what you're looking for exists when it doesn't really exist, instead of them to come out plainly and tell you that it doesn't exist. So right from the beginning, I talked about how the answer search engines give may not necessarily be the best answer, but what it thinks is the best answer. So when you look at the questions, sometimes you encounter questions that don't make sense. Try and place it in context and understand what the person is truly asking so that you'll be able to answer it well. So who is eligible for freelancers? I would just add this under some things to consider. Who is freelancing for? So who can do freelancing? I would I would just add it here. So let's just call this eligibility. And is it difficult to start freelancing? Add this under ease. So these are some things to consider before starting freelancing. That's some things to consider about freelancing. Then which type of freelancing is easy? So I will add this under types of freelancing. Then which freelancing platform is best for beginners? So I'll add this under freelancing platforms. The freelancers pay tax in Nigeria. Then other questions. Okay. Now, the trick I was share with you is that if in trying to arrange your article, you encounter some questions that cannot fit into any section of your article and it wouldn't make sense to stand alone in your article, then you should just create a frequently asked questions section. So this would be the last section of your article. So if you encounter a question I feel is important to answer, but then it doesn't fit into any part of your article and it will make sense for it to stand out alone, then you can create a frequently asked questions and put it on that there. So this question, the freelancers pay tax in Nigeria. I don't think it would make a lot of sense. No, I don't think it would make any sense to add it as a standalone heading rather, and also wouldn't make sense to add it under any of my sections. Although I could add it under some things to consider about freelancing, but I think this it really deviates from the content. It's also the necessary information that could help the reader. So I'll add it on the application. So any other question I find that wouldn't fit into a section of the article and it won't make sense to stand alone, I'll just place it on applicant to ask questions. Then which job is easier freelancing? This is also similar to the freelancing skills. So I will add it under I think those questions that question is similar to this question. So I'll just put them together. Then what type of freelancers earn the most? So I will add this under that question is similar to this question. This skill is highly paid in freelance and what type of freelancers earn the most? Those two questions are similar. Then are freelancers millionaires? So this is frequently asked question. I think it would be better to add it on that frequently asked question. Now I can also create a section called benefits of freelance writing. But for now let me add this on now. Remember this is me creating an outline. So this isn't the final outline yet. After I've fleshed everything out, I can still move things around until I get a sense of the outline that perfectly fits this article. Now, a little heads up. Okay, not a heads up. There are actually hacks where you can use article outline templates to write an article. But remember, I'm teaching you how to write SEO content. So I, I will give you the hacks for quick wins, but then it's also important to know how these hacks came about. So the person who is giving me an outline template, the person has gone through this process and has been able to categorize articles into different buckets to say, okay, an article that is a what is article or is a listicle, this is what it usually follows, this is the pattern it usually follows. But the thing is, templates are good for a start, but then you won't be able to know when to ditch that template. And personally, I believe the best place to create an outline from is the Google steps itself, and the steps change. What people care about today with AI all over the place is different from what people cared about 10, 15 years ago. So if you are following the just templates. You will not be able to incorporate new information from the steps into your article. And I think this is also one reason why my articles run, because it's like I'm following the recent data. I'm following what people care about most, and I am trying to answer as many of the questions as possible. So that lets me stand out. I need to do this. This is my thing. I cannot be there. Okay, then the Nigerian state tax on Upwork. This person thinking about how to start freelancing. I don't think that question is important. The Nigerian state tax on Upwork. They're thinking about how to start freelancing. Paying tax shouldn't be a problem. So I will just discard that question. So how to receive payments as a freelancer in Nigeria? I agree. For now, I would add that under for them to ask questions. But maybe when I proceed to how to start freelancing, actionable steps, I would create a session where say have a good payment system in place. So yes, I would later that will most likely be a good thing. Okay, let me just add it on that. So basically, how to start freelancing, my steps would be get your income skill, get your income skill, get your income skill, get a portfolio, get a portfolio, get a portfolio, get get a portfolio and testimonials. Get a portfolio and testimonials slash recommendations. Then look for work. We have options. It could be freelance or it could be online and offline, but we are mostly going to focus on online to get the income skill, get a portfolio, testimonials, recommendations, look for work. So that depends you look for work, then set up the structure. You could actually, before going out to look for work, you could draft out contracts, but then the most important thing is to job, get jobs rather before you think of drafting up contracts. Set up set up payment systems, set up systems, documents. So under this look for work, I would talk about things like freelance platforms, freelance forms, your network, social media, um, your network, social media, then set up payment systems. So under set up payment systems, that's where I will tackle how to receive payments as a freelancer in Nigeria. So under set up payment systems, that's where I'll tackle how to receive payments as a freelancer in Nigeria. Okay, look for what set up payment systems, draft out a contract, structure your business. So I could say structure your business. I need to do this. My face very hot. I'm having issues from my friends. I want this. Money, so set up payment, structure your business, so structure your business, so contracts, to talk about contracts, rate cards, so then everything to do. So like I say, the niche. This is me trying to replay the steps I would go through if I were to start freelancing from scratch. Structure your business, contracts, rate cards, um, personal branding, personal branding. Add that. Okay, build a personal brand, build a personal brand to command higher fees. Build a personal brand to command higher fees and continuously upskill, upskill, continuously upskill, network, continuously upskill and network. So I think this gives you. Yes, yes, I'm trying to format this the way I want. I don't know why it's giving me. Oh, I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure this out. I just proceed. Oh, okay. So I think I forgot. So look for work online, offline, blah, 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 blah. Rate cards, build a personal brand, philosophy of skill and network. Philosophy of skill and network. So I think this would be the steps. Look for work, freelancing platforms. So my outline is taking shape already. Then some freelancing platforms, freelancing mentors to ask questions. Then it's Upwork free to join. So like I said, anything about Upwork, I would add it under this outside on that. It's Upwork free to join. Which website is best for freelancing? So this is under freelancing platforms. So you see how I'm compressing everything into different sections now. So that question is similar to this question. Which website is best for freelancing? Which freelancing platform is best for beginners? Okay, so I will separate them. And then which job is most demanding in freelancing? Okay, so people are also interested in knowing. People are not just interested in starting freelancing, they want to know where the money is, where the demand is. So we can go there. So that's other types of freelancing or habits. Yeah, which job is most demanding in freelancing? Then which online skills pay the most? This is similar to this is similar to this is similar to this question. So I'll just add it together. Add them together. Which country owns Upwork? Now this question isn't important per se, but I can add it as an introduction. So when I'm talking about Upwork, I can say Upwork is an American-based platform. So I will add it here. But it's a question that I can discard without remorse because I feel it's not so important here. Then who employs a freelancer? So the freelancers have a salary. So basically, some people do not know, some people do not really know that to freelance you need to have a skill first. So they feel freelancing is a skill in and of itself. They feel freelancing the same way you have writing and you learn how to write and you write for people to pay. They feel freelancing is a skill that you learn freelancing and then you freelance. I don't know if you get my point. So we have graphic design, writing, data analysis, virtual assistants, whatever, what other online skills are there? Okay, web design, web development. They feel that's how you have freelancing. They don't know that you need to have a skill with which you can freelance, basically. So the person asking the freelancers have a salary, I think that's the issue here. So instead, I will add this who employs a freelancer and the freelancers have a salary. I will add them under the introductory part of this app. So I will answer them under what is freelancing. I'll answer them under here. And then why did I fail as a freelancer? So I could create a section that says beginner mistakes to avoid or how not to fail, how not to fail as a freelancer. So how not to fail or tips for success, tips for freelancing success. So I would add this. So under there, I could talk about the story of someone who failed, who got into freelancing and didn't make it, and the person gave up. Remember, writing is the easiest part of writing. If you take your time to do this step, when you proceed to write, you will see that it will flow easily. Okay, so what is the first step to become a freelancer? I would answer this on that. I've already listed out my steps. So when I'm talking about getting icons, you can see the first step to become a free, the first step to become a freelancer, the first step to become a freelancer. So I'm using the words in. Sorry, I'm not going to make taking a listen, but when I'm writing, I'll see the first step to become a freelancer is then I'll use deadline is getting my income. So, okay, so use freelancing is easy. This will be under of freelancing. So which is the most best of the best. Which type of freelancing is easy. So that is I think that's a repetition. So I can just remove this question. It's a repetition. And that when you start saying repetition, that's when you know that you have gotten all you need to do. Can I freelance with no experience? I think I've seen this question to experience. So it's similar to can I do freelance with no experience? So there's no point talking that this skill is best for freelancing for beginners. We've already tackled something similar. Let's go up so you confirm that I'm not just explaining to you which type of freelancing is easy, which type of freelancing is easiest, which job is okay. So which freelancing platform is best for beginners? Okay, I think I could bring back that second question for being similar for which skill is best for freelancing for beginners. I would with this and bring it as a freelancing skill. So once this question most so I will just put it here for now. But I could bundle these two together. Bundle these two together and say so why I'm talking about which skill is best for freelancing, I'll say why for beginners this other skill is better for freelancer. So what is the most common freelance job? Basically this person is asking what is in demand. So I remember I had something similar there. So we used to work with that's what like several jobs, mostly command jobs. Like, now, although specific job is most demanding in freelancing, I think what this person actually means is what is the most common freelance job? Like which freelance job is in high demand? So if you learn that skill, people would come over to you over and over again to get your service. Basically, I think that's what that person is asking. Then what's the easiest freelance job to get started? You have tackled this. Can I learn freelance on my own? I had a section for this. So I talked about self-learning experience. Can I do freelance in your experience? So self-learning. I'm going to put that in here. I put that in here. You are only your God Almighty. Okay, so what's the easiest freelance job to get started? I think we tackled that already. And which type of CV? It's easy, it's easier for freelancing. So there's no point adding that again. But instead, I can add this to the part I'm talking about the steps for to get the income skill. So I could also answer the question what's the easiest freelance job to get started and answer that under this very income skill. Is Fiverr available for Nigeria? Is Fiverr available in Nigeria? So some freelancing platforms. There's Upwork. So I'll talk about. Fiverr too. And on that Fiverr, that's where I'll answer any question related to Fiverr. So it's Fiverr available in Nigeria. Is Fiverr available in Nigeria? Can Nigerians use Upwork? I think I answered something similar. Let's see. Is Upwork available in the Upwork application? And still bundle them all together. Can you make a living from freelancing? Of course, of course, of course, of course. I would just add that on that frequently asked questions. How to receive payments as a freelancer in Nigeria? They have done that already. Let's just scroll up so you confirm that they have done that and that. I'm not just trying to cut out some questions because this is getting. So how to receive payments as a freelancer in Nigeria? This is it. And then it's repeating how to receive payments as a freelancer in Nigeria. So you can delete this. So how much does Upwork charge as this? So this to freelancers pay tax in Nigeria is already calculated. So you can see that the questions are now repeating. So we know that we have done a good job. How much does Upwork charge as this to Upwork? So you can talk about Upwork and mention that they charge fees, then where the freelancer gets paid. So I will talk about how this would be under section of freelancing platforms. So bring introduction of what freelancing platforms are. Now then I'll answer this question where the freelancers get paid. Then it's Upwork real of fake. What kind of jobs are in Upwork? Okay, so I'll still add this under Upwork. So anything about Upwork, this is where I would answer it. Do I need to pay for Fiverr? Do I need to pay for Fiverr? Of course not. I understand why people are asking that question. Maybe there's someone who says they've set up their Fiverr account for you, but you have to pay them a certain amount. What jobs on Fiverr? This is similar to Fiverr. This is my Fiverr side, yeah. Which freelancer is best for beginners? Which freelancer? So basically, this person is there asking this question of which freelancing skill is best for beginners. This one we have here, which skill is best for beginners. I can just ignore it totally. Let's just which skills are best for freelancing? We've done this program over here. Upwork rule of fake. I can also talk about this. So maybe some people are skeptical. So, so when I'm talking about Upwork, when I'm introducing it, I'll say Upwork is a legit platform owned by an American company. So you see, I'm using I don't know if you watch Avengers. I'm using the stones to fill the stones. I'm using their stones to answer them, and I'm using their wording. And what is the easiest freelancing projects? We've also tackled a part of this. So how stressful is freelancing? Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. That was supposed to be somewhere around here, right? What is the easiest freelancing job project? So this skill is best for so I have this. Yeah. And then some freelancing platforms. How stressful is freelancing? So I'll add this under some things to consider. So maybe some people are not cut out for the freelance life. They're almost done with this. So some things to consider is so I would add that under the how stressful is freelancing. What is the highest paid skill in freelancing? Same thing with if the job is in demand and this one is highly paid. So go back up to it's in the same category with these guys. Then how can I work online and stay in Nigeria? Get paid skill. So I can use this as the intro of my article. I can use that as the intro of my article. So introduction, intro, to talk about that article. So, yep. Which job is most demanding? We've seen this exact question. What skill pays most in Nigeria? This is still this is still similar to which is the most high. So people don't just want to dive in, they want to get to put their energy in and you can't blame anybody. So does Upwork pay Nigerians? Does Upwork pay Nigerians? Um, that's what done on Upwork. So some of our brothers have kind of painted an image. So people who are just right now want to know if these platforms will pay them or they also or if Nigeria has been blacklisted on this platform. So how to become a freelancer. This is part of the actionable steps. So I can use that as the intro of this. So basically I believe you've seen how the flow went from going to Google, getting a bunch of questions, and then now I'm bundling all these questions to create an outline that I will then use to write the article. Then does Upwork accept everyone? Yes, they accept everyone. There's a similar question here. Is Upwork free to join? Okay, so I just add it here. Then what qualifies you as a freelancer? Under some things to consider, I would add it here, experience, or I could use it as the intro. So, but I would like to put it here. Know that your outline is not it's not set in stone. It's not that once you create that outline, you cannot move things around. If during the writing process, you notice that this section will be better up here, or this subsection will be better under this other section. You are free to move things around until you get a flow of what will give the reader a good experience while also bringing value to your business. So like I said, this topic it will be better suited for freelance writing, freelance coaches rather, so people who coach other people to make money online to become freelancers. So if you have such an article and you're writing up, it's almost likely people who are interested in freelance will visit, and then after you give them these tips, you pitch your service and say, I'm a freelance coach. If you need someone to hold you by the hand and blah 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 blah, pay so amount, give us a social account and this and that and that and that. Okay, so the freelancers get paid. This is quite a funny question. uh, but I would so basically any question that shows that the person doesn't really understand the topic, I would add this to my what is section. So I would answer that under what is freelancing. How long do freelance jobs last? Yes, job security. Job security. So I would add this under some things to consider. Job security. Experience, eligibility, job security. I'll just add it under job security for now. That's the best place I can place it. I can just put it as a standalone. So I feel I just put it on that job security. So it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that it is in my article. So what kinds of freelance jobs are there? We have talked about that how to do this already on that types of freelance. So I'll just you know, sometimes I feel guilty when when I just discard certain findings. So types of freelancing. So I could add this as an input here. Okay, we are almost done. Barely 10 more questions. How much do freelancers charge per hour? Mhm. So under structure your business, let's start. I can talk about how much the freelancers charge per hour. Can you make a living from freelancing? This is an exact replica of this freelance career. Yes, this is something to talk about. This is something to talk about. So some things to consider. Job security is self-learning experience, eligibility, job security. So I can put that as a standalone question. I choose to put it as a standalone question. Freelancing in risky career. How to identify a fake freelancer. This question, I would add it on a freelance mentors to learn from. So how to identify who they should follow so they don't get ripped off by people who don't know what they're talking about. How much does a successful freelancer make? Um, how I use on that frequently asked questions. Who is the which skill is best for freelancing? We have done this over and over again. What is the best freelance job for beginners? We have tackled this. Then can you freelance while working full time? Control X. I'll add this under some things to consider about freelancing. Use self-learning experience, job security, experience in career, then can you freelance? So we're talking about the risk threshold. I under this. How many minutes did this take? So it has taken us about an hour to do this. Now, the reason why I spend so much time is that I was trying to explain my thought process so that you know why I move what here, why I move this part into so and so subheading. So when now you understand this, there are different tools you can use. There's actually a way you could use AI to speed up this process. But like I said, I'm laying the foundation. When you already know what you are up to, then you can be able to use AI tools, use use tools like answer the public to find questions. Use tools like people also ask, people also search for. Okay, so now this is our outline, guys. This is our outline. This is our outline. So fairly an intro, obviously. Then I'll talk about what is freelancing. So under what is freelancing, I'll talk about who employs a freelancer, the freelancer has a salary, the freelancer gets paid, the types of freelancing skills, so what type of freelance jobs are there. Then I'll tackle all these under this. So basically this topic will be my H1, and then this will be the intro will be standalone. I won't really call it an intro. Then what is freelancing will be H2. This will be H2. Then if I'm creating any other heading, so now I believe we now have a better understanding of what H2s and H3s are. So if I'm creating any heading out of all these that are under this H2, they will be H3. And if I'm creating any subheading out of these H3s, it will be H4, and then this is another H2. So basically, H2 is a part of that we are talking about a specific thing as it relates to the broad topic. Then out of that specific thing, if there are other sub-specific things, there will be H3s under that H2. So it's just like breaking your article into buckets. I don't know if I feel like I'm over explaining H2s and H3s, but then it's so easy yet sometimes I notice that people find it hard to understand. But when you write and get someone to read the article, you better able to structure it. Anyways, something to consider then how to start. So this is the main this is the main reason why person or whoever it is wants to read this article. But then these other parts are just to give the person a background check. Now if you noticed, I didn't say anything about what counts because I don't pay much attention to what counts. The thing is, if you do your due diligence by going to the Google search and getting and fleshing out an outline, the what counts will take care of itself. Take care of itself. So I don't bother about how many words do I need to write for this article. But then if your client gives you a particular the line gives you a particular word count, then you know that okay, you have to keep it within that limit. So maybe you could write most times I write more than the word count I'm given. But then if the client says he needs to stay within a specific range, after writing then I start cutting out things and streamline the article until it is within that limit. Or if I feel like the excess word count is actually better for that article, I will just submit it that way to the client. But word count is one of the things I do not worry about. Also, I do not pay much attention into. I think I should proceed to write. You will see how this is about. I also do not pay much attention into trying to fit my keyword or semantic words into the article. As you've seen when I went to the SAPs, I automatically brought semantic keywords into my outline, things like Upwork, things like Fiverr, things like payment systems, and all of that. So I can delete these related searches now. This top tab, what is top tab? Let me see if it's something interesting I need to add. I don't know what top tab is. So that is a freelance platform. Okay, it is but since it is under related section, I use for my outline. For my outline, the part where I was talking about freelance first. So freelance platforms for Fiverr, Doctor. Since now there are like there should be over 100, in fact, even be an assessment freelancing platforms. But I am not going to write about all of them. I'm going to write about what people care about. They are searching for top tile. It means it's so top tile. I'll talk about top tile, then website that pays writers in Nigeria, the freelance jobs for students in Nigeria. So students choosing so freelance is best for beginners. The job is missing the money. I can add that freelance job for students in Nigeria. I can add that under I can add that under maybe okay, jobs. So I can add that in that. So you see how from the steps I have fleshed out an outline then for freelancing websites in Nigeria. So I could specifically talk about so freelancing platforms, Upwork, Fiverr, Upwork, and then talk about freelancing websites in Nigeria. So freelance websites that are specific to the Nigerian market. Okay, so I can delete this now. That freelancing in Nigeria, Naira. The person searching for this specifically wants to see what people have said on Naira land. So I could talk about going to Naira and the work. But no, I'll not do that. Instead, what I would do is after writing this article, I'll go to Naira land and create a summary of this article and then link back to this article. That's what I would do instead. So that is the notes to add here. So notes distribute on Naira land and link back to this article. So for those people who may be looking for answers from Naira land, they would also find my article here. So I think that is it for this part. Yep. And then how to so basically we tackle all of this, how to start a freelance business in Nigeria. I talk about structured business. Okay, and guys, this is my outline. I'm done with these people. So with this outline, I can then create my main outline for the article. So I'm just going to copy all of this and paste it. And I would love to see my structure. Okay, so now it's time for it. This is about an hour. I will not be surprised if I'm able to write this article in 30 within 30 minutes because I have done the background work. Let's see, and I have good knowledge of freelancing. So my intro, I'd say, looking to work online and get paid daily in Nigeria. So how to start freelancing in Nigeria. This will be my intro. Looking to work online and get paid daily in Nigeria. This will be page two. But let me not go into structuring that yet. So looking to work online and get paid daily in Nigeria. So this is me already applying my oh, this is so funny. This is me already applying my hook formula I talked about. So let me go back to it. Let's go daily in Nigeria. uh, it's just funny. I find it funny. It's a part of me already. Oh, please load faster. Yes, so I can actually close these documents because I already have this. So now we have clarified the problem. Now it's time to solve the problem. So in solving the problem, there are two options: first-hand experience, so you actually do it, or you go for one experience. Now I am a freelancer. Although I would say I'm a part-time freelancer. That's quite funny, part-time freelancer. But as I proceed to write the article, you will understand why I say I'm a part-time freelancer. But since I understand how to better with freelancing and how to freelance, so I don't need basically I have the experience. But if let's say you didn't have the experience at all, what do you do? Now you can take this your outline and interview a subject matter expert. So those are options for solving the problem. So look for a freelancer online. Just the person you need to have some relationship with the person. The total stranger may not easily give you the time to answer. So remember I talked about an article I wrote on something about agriculture and hiding on this. So after I had done this process onto my outline, then I simply sent her a message and I said, please can I get finish your time? She's my colleague. So I didn't just barge into an absolute stranger. And then she gave me time. So I just asked the questions that I couldn't get answers from anywhere. So that greatly cut my research time. I would have spent maybe 12 hours plus 5 hours trying to research to write that article, but within just 20 minutes, 20 minutes is even an overstatement. I got all I needed from her because I had already clarified what I needed. I wasn't just asking random questions. So let's say for this part of how to start freelancing, if I didn't have any experience, then I would have that subject matter expert, you're a freelance. Someone wants to start freelancing go from zero. What are the 5, 10 steps the person can follow from them? I write that down. Then for each of those steps, I could go on to ask other questions, and then I could come back here and say, what are some things to consider about freelancing? Is it easy in your opinion? Can someone start on the general? Must the person have a mentor, experience, eligibility? Are there some people who are not eligible to be freelancers? So with this your outline, if you do not have experience, it's either you interview someone to interview with an expert in that area, or you proceed to read books if you have the time. Now, the default path people usually go through is to read what other people have written. I put that very low on the bottom of things you can do to solve the problem, because it shows when you don't really have substance in the article. So if you delve deep into research, into books, or interview with subject matter experts, your article will always stand out compared to when you just try and just read the top 3 articles that other people have written and then try to write from that. And also, this is where most people get it wrong. When they are given an article and to write on, they just go straight into writing about that topic. They don't first of all clarify what this person is, who the person's target audience is, at what stage of the buyer's journey the person is in, and then they don't clarify. Like now, the topic is how to start freelancing, but then going to the Google search, I have been able to find out that people are not just interested in how to start freelancing, but they want to know which skill is highly paid, which skill is the easiest, what can they start with ASAP, and then what can they do even as students, and then they also want to know if freelancing is risky. So if I didn't go to the search, like the search engine results page, SERP, I wouldn't have known that these are other things people who are searching for this, how to start freelancing in Nigeria, care about. But now I've been able to nail all of that, and then now it's time to solve the problem. So if I didn't have any experience in this, I had to option that I go ahead and become a freelancer. That would take me months before I would be able to write this article if I wanted to rely on my own experience. But there are other ways to that article I've talked about. So if you don't have the time, maybe your the what you're writing about requires years to gain that level of experience, and you don't have the time at your disposal, you can interview subject matter experts. So that's number one thing. That's the one I would highly recommend. After you flesh out your outline, just take it and go ask someone who is really experienced in that field. It could be your colleague, it could be your friend, it could be someone you have been chatting with online or someone you follow online. And that's why it's also good to network with other individuals and not only people who we are expecting jobs from. So it's either you interview subject matter experts. If you don't have the personal experience, interview subject matter experts. You could take an online course. If there's an online course that can explain that. You could watch YouTube videos. You could read books, and then you could read research papers on Google Scholar, and then lastly, read what other people have already published online. That is the one I least recommend, because then that will just most if you give off that vibe of this person doesn't really know what he or she is doing, doesn't really have experience in this field. Okay, so now it's time to write. So I've already started writing. What took me on this book? I wanted to show you I wanted to remind you of my book that my playwright. So I ask the reader a question, and then I tell the reader their position, I reassure them and give them the benefit. So I already asked the question here. Looking to work online and get paid daily in Nigeria. Whether you're a student, whether you're a student or recent graduates trying to find your feet, trying to find your feet and get your finances in order. Freelancing is a good lifeline. Like I say, so this is me just writing my first draft. Like freelancing is a great way to get your goals, to get your goals, to achieve that. Lots of things are running through my mind. But this is my first draft. Whether you're a student or recent or you're trying to find your feet and get your finances in order. So basically, if you remember when I was taking out my clothes, I said I'm still young and young. So this person is most likely in the university or a recent graduate. So this is me sticking to the plan. Whether you're still reading the even freelance, blah blah blah. So this is I asked the question and I stated the reader's position that you are this and then assurance. So freelancing is a great way to achieve that. So I'll then go ahead to say starting freelancing in Nigeria. Oops. Why starting freelancing in Nigeria can help you earn 6 to 7 figures monthly working for clients in Nigeria and beyond. At this point, not going to pay much attention to typos. So in this article, so I could also tell the person that I am a freelancer myself and I started SEO content writing. Should I add that? I think okay. I know this because I was once like you, but I made my first million naira as a student for freelance writing. So this is me reassuring the person that um, you are not going to waste your time here and I can solve your problem. So in this article, then now I'm going to in this article, I will show you step by step, step by step process to start freelancing. So if you've noticed I'm sneaking my keyword in the start freelancing in Nigeria without without any experience, without experience. Okay, so then I'll proceed to what's first. So I would say something like what's first, what exactly is freelancing? And then so freelancing is simply so now I'm going to define freelancing. Freelancing is simply offering skills to different clients on and short slash mid-term basis as a contractor without being employed by the company. Basically, that's what freelancing is. So you have a skill they need now. Maybe they need a writer for the next 6 months, could even be up to a year, but they don't want to employ you to be a full-time employee. So they get a freelancer for that time frame and they pay you to do work. So the difference between having a full-time employee and a freelancer is that for full-time employees, most times, even if they do not do any work, the fact that they are an employee of that company at the end of the month they get paid. While for freelancers, you are paid on a contract basis. So when you deliver the work, you get paid. So that's what freelancing is. So companies who need companies that need this is new time to answer employees to freelancer. Companies that need certain skills but don't want to commit to full-time employment but don't want to commit to full-time employment employs employs freelancers for short-term work short-term work. And then also um, certain businesses. So I can add this or add this as page story. So I'm just going to use page story so that I know that when I'm formatting it's good as page story. Then the freelancers have a salary, so this will also be page story. So depending on the contract signed and the freelancers get paid, obviously yes. So I'm bundling these two together. And I'll just say freelancers get paid. Um, I'll say freelancers don't have a salary. Freelancers don't have a salary in the traditional sense. Freelancers get paid when they deliver the work to and clients are delivered. Okay, so that is it for what is freelancing. Now, types of freelancing skills. So freelancing out here, freelancing is not skill only times itself. Instead, it is a service business model by which skilled people offer services. This is really redundant, but this is my first draft. So freelancing is not a skill. Also, I give this advice when you're writing at first, don't worry about grammar and the correctness of everything. Just pour out everything, try and answer the questions from top to bottom, and then later you can come back and edit. Freelancing is not a skill and itself. Instead, it's a service business model that these skilled people offer services to multiple clients. So, so types of freelancing depends. So types of freelancing depends on the skill you are offering. So what kinds of freelance jobs are out there? This will be page three. Page three. What kind of freelancing jobs? Because it is under these types of freelancing. So what kind of freelancing jobs are out there? There are endless jobs. If anybody needs a particular skill, if people need a particular skill, then that is a good that is a good that's a good what's the word I'm looking for? That's a good pointer or yeah, that is a good pointer to a likely available freelance job. That being said, that being said, some jobs are more in demand than others. And then I'll proceed to which skill. So this there are common freelance jobs. So I would look for that part where they asking in demand. So which job is most in demand? What is the most freelance job? So I'll just which job is most in demand. I'll just put which job is most in demand. This will be page three. Which job is most demand. So demanding internationally. Which job which freelancing job is in high demand? Which freelancing job is in high demand? Is in high demand. Yeah, so there are common, I want to use this word we use here, common freelance jobs. So I'll say here are the most common freelance jobs. Here are the most common freelance jobs. Here are the most common freelance jobs. And then I'll go on to list um, content writing, there is virtual assistant, there is website design, there's web development, there's graphic design, there's marketing. What else? There are many things we could do as a freelancer. And there is SEO, Come on, freelancers, what do you guys do? What other jobs? I'm not going to waste my time on this list, but basically, big idea. So I can add as many things as I want to this list. Okay, now for instance, so I can add. I think I would add these some things to consider about freelancing. So, you guys, okay. So what kinds of freelancers are there? That being said, this freelancing that you know, okay, I'll just talk about which skill is highly paid in freelancing. Which skill is highly paid in freelancing? Which skill is highly paid in freelancing? What type of freelancers are in the So I think I'll add under something to consider getting started. Yes, I'll add the before getting started. Which skill is highly paid in freelancing? Okay. So ease is how easy it is. So ease, this will be good. So this is good. So is it difficult to start freelancing? This is well answered these questions. So let's see. People often ask me, people often ask, is it difficult to start freelancing? So see what I did here. People often ask, is it difficult to start freelancing? How stressful is freelancing? The truth is that it's easy to start. It's easy to start, but starting doesn't equal doesn't mean succeed. But starting doesn't automatically mean success. Nothing good comes easy. So you have to put in the work. But at the same time, but at the same time, it's not so difficult that you can't do it. You just have to be willing. Yes, it can be stressful at times, can be stressful at times trying to juggle multiple projects, communicate with clients, and deliver what you promise. Okay, then which skill is highly paid in freelancing? So profitability is profitability, profitability. So you also need to consider say all skills are not created equally. Some increase your chances of getting paid big bucks. Some highly paid skills in freelancing include copywriting, copywriting, marketing, and programming. So I've tackled that first one. So the kind of freelancers, type of freelancer earns the most are those who are at what and lots of telling about their work. But that shouldn't discourage you. That shouldn't discourage you. Discourage you. Yes, you. If, um, you, you and ISP freelance in Nigeria. This is just my then which skill is best for freelancing? So if profitability, then um, which skill is best for freelancing for beginners? Which skill is best for freelancing for beginners? This skill is best for freelancing for people. There's no easy answer. So this actually writing is the easiest. Writing is one of the best way for beginners. You most likely don't need much resources to start. It's just your smartphone, just your smartphone and three courses. And your first client. So that's it. What is the easiest freelance job to get? It's also, or other things, also important writing jobs, writing jobs are among easiest freelancing jobs to get. Okay, let's be fair and important to start. So I was even as a student in Nigeria, so even students in Nigeria, you can get freelance writing jobs like I did when I was in school. So in later in this article, I will talk about how to get freelance jobs as a Nigerian student. Okay, so that's it. And I learned freelancing on my own. So I can still remember the reason why this person is coming to read this article is to know how to start. Not talking about what is freelancing and types of freelancing. I can dive straight into how to start freelancing and then move these some things to consider before getting started after this part where it talks about how to start freelancing. If someone came here to learn how to start freelancing, so it really be nice that I'm talking about everything first before going to the main matter. So although I have structured it like this, like I said, your outline is not set in stone. You can still mix and match things until you get a good outcome. So I'll still continue answering this question. Then the next thing, this is also history. Can I learn freelancing on my own? Age story. Can I learn freelancing? Yes and no. I say yes because you don't necessarily have to pay for the course or mentorship at the start. Yeah, great free resources on YouTube and across the internet. By using them and applying the lessons, you can start freelancing on your own. But it may take you longer to see success, and you are more likely to give easy routines. Don't start working when you are alone. But into a getting a mentor and joining a community and ease the process for you help you avoid beginner mistakes mistakes and start making money faster. Okay, next experience. So what qualifies you? Can I do freelancing with no experience? So can I do freelancing with no experience? Um, beginners often ask beginners often ask what qualifies you as a freelancer? What qualifies you as a freelancer? You know, something also qualifies you as a freelancer. Maybe they're wondering if you need to go to a special school and write exams or perhaps you must you need to have decades, not my title, decades of experience before you start freelancing. That's far from the truth. That's far from the truth. The only the only thing you need to start freelancing is a is a skill that people need, is a skill people need and the ability to deliver the results they want. So for example, you can learn graphic design in a few within a month. You can learn graphic design within a month and land a client 2 weeks after that. The key, the key here is to be able to deliver great work. So you've mastered a skill, you've mastered a skill, uh, you are fully freelance. Then eligibility. Who is eligible? The items I'll bundle this year. So just as what qualifies as a freelancer, um, who is eligible to be a freelancer, who is eligible to be a freelancer, to be a freelancer. Okay, so I've tackled eligibility, then job security, then is freelancing a risky career. I'm going to bundle these two together. So freelancing is a career. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, freelancing is risky at times, especially during the early phase. Freelancers often have something called fixed and permanent. Basically, sometimes this is um, just give me Okay, I'm back. So yes, let's just discover it. Going to fix our supply. Okay, so is freelancing a risky career? I'm going to be honest with you, yes, freelancing can be risky at times, especially during the early phase. Freelancers often have something we call, oh, in my head, I thought I wrote this. Have something we call the feast and famine, called feast and famine. Feast and famine in a sense. Basically, sometimes everything is all rosy and we are even